So, welcome everybody to AI Unleashed. If you don't know me, I'm not Jake and I'm not Katie. You probably figured that out by now. My name is Brian Messeri, and I'm the AI strategist over at Scaled. So, Jake and Katie were both out today. They couldn't make it. They will be back 2 weeks from today when we do our next one. But I'm filling in again to help them out. And we have a lot to cover today. So if you don't know me, like I said, what I do at Scaled is I've been responsible for putting together the sales prompt library that a lot of you are familiar with and have access to. I'm the one that's building the custom GPTs in the back end. We're going to be talking about those a little bit today as well. So, I sort of have my fingers in all the bits and parts of building, not only prompts, but then building customized prompts. And then we also work with companies and build truly customized ones that are actually trained on the data of their company. So knowing their value props and things like that. So hopefully I'm the right person to help you guys along today. And let's kind of like dig into it, because the first thing we usually kick off with, or Jake or Katie kick off with, is a little bit of news. And I wanted to share two different pieces of news today that I thought would be really helpful to you. One is, well, both are really sort of things that I think can really help you out. So let me go ahead and share my screen super quick. Sorry about that. One more time. Let's try that one more time. There we go. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to talk about is this article that ChatGPT put out maybe a week or two ago. And basically what they did is, as you can see hopefully on your screen, is they talked about what some of the key guidelines are for writing custom instructions. But the reason I wanted to share this is, even if you're not creating custom GPTs yourself, a lot of what is in this document can actually be really, really helpful to writing any sort of prompts to it. So I wanted to call this out because I've been personally leaning on this document, looking at it quite a bit. I'll go ahead and put it in the chat. And then Becca, if you can put it on the LinkedIn side, that'd be cool. I'm sorry. Yeah, the LinkedIn side as well. But let's just look at some of them. We don't need to go deep dive. You guys can go look at this yourself. But the things that are in here, this is how I prompt, guys. When I think about prompting, whether it's for sales or anything else that I might be using a ChatGPT for, the first thing you want to do is, as it says, simplify complex instructions. ChatGPT can do really, really well at taking just a mass of data, like think of a big transcript, and breaking it down. But it does a better job when you're able to take multiple step process and break that down into, like, let's say, if it's a 10-step process, breaking that down into each of the steps and being really, really clear in your instructions on what you would like it to do. If you ask for too many things up top and at once in a prompt, oftentimes you can get some varying degrees of success with that prompt and how well it works. So first and foremost, trying to simplify complex instructions is a great place to start. And again, this works for custom GPTs, but you can also use them for any prompts. And you can see they have some examples here as well. And then structure for clarity, I think this is another good one. We'll call out just a few here. Breaking down second level instructions into separate steps. We talked about that, using delimiters between instruction sets for callouts or few shot examples. So there's some words in there that maybe not be super familiar. Few shot is just another way of saying an example. So think about using a delimiters is kind of like, it's basically pointing in the instructions and saying, hey, ChatGPT, focus here. This is really important. Sometimes you can actually say that by saying, hey, this is really important. Other times you can say, I'm looking for this type of response. Here's an example of what I think a great response looks like. And again, you can use that in a normal prompt. I've done that in many, many of my prompts where ChatGPT maybe isn't doing a great job and I get a result and I go, that's not exactly what I'm looking for. But if I go back to the prompt and I say, do all this stuff, here are the 7 steps, and then here's an example of what an output should look like, that's called few shot. That would be one shot, but then few shot would be several examples in it. So always lean on examples if you have a really good one. Now, I'll tell you a quick trick too. Sometimes what you can do is run it the first time, and if it gives you a good example, then you can actually take that example and put it back into the original prompt, and you can edit the original prompt or a custom GPT if you're going to reuse the prompt over and over again. So even if you don't have an example, more than likely at some point you're going to get a good one, and then you can turn around and use that, and that's going to train the model as well. A couple other ones in here. Try to stay away from negative instructions. I'm the world's worst at using passive language. I do it a lot. I can remember going through my master's program many, many years ago in 2008 and or 2006 to 2008, I guess it was. And I would write a lot of my professional papers for grades and stuff, and they would have passive voice in there. And my wife would always be helping me to put active voice in there. Well, same kind of thing. You want to say, instead of a lot of don't do this, it's do this, right? ChatGPT does a better job with the active instructions versus putting negative instructions in there. So just something to keep in mind in there. And it's granular steps. It's kind of a repeat, consistency and clarity. Yeah, can't emphasize that enough. To be super clear, try to stay away from jargon, although it might do a good job. But if you're in an industry where a lot of jargon is used, I think the extreme example of this is the military. I was a contract firefighter for years over in, not for years, for 15 months over in Iraq many years ago. And even as a contractor, not being in the military, but working for them over in Baghdad, the amount of acronyms and things that are used. And if I tried to write a custom GPT or a chat GPT using all those acronyms, there's a pretty good chance it wouldn't do a great job. So try to expand things out unless it's very, very common knowledge. I would expand it out and put some more explanation in there, because again, the knowledge bases are very, very broad, and they're complex, and they're trillions and trillions of rows of data and all that good stuff. But there's no harm in actually trying to help it out a little bit more. So go take a look at this document. I think it's super helpful. Like I said, I write custom GPTs. I've probably written over 50 plus custom GPTs for either myself, scaled internally, or externally for clients and such. And I lean on these guidelines just as much, because no matter what I was doing in the past, this is actually what OpenAI is saying. Hey, this is what we think you should be doing. So it's a great document to look at. Okay, the other thing I wanted to share that's a little off of ChatGPT, but I wanted to bring up, is actually Perplexity. Now, if you're not familiar with Perplexity, it is a really, really great tool. It's free. You can use it. There's a paid side of it as well, but you can absolutely use it for free. And Perplexity is a great place to go and do some research if you're trying to deep dive. To me, it's like the better version of what we would hope a Google search would be. Google's getting better with that too, with their AI overview that's been in the news lately. But you really can't go wrong with going to perplexity.ai. I highly recommend just checking out and see what you think. But one of their new features is that they have something kind of called like a library. And what it'll do is essentially build out a page for you. And what's super cool about this is it's actually shareable as a link. It's actually indexed as well, which is really crazy. So if I just said something like, this is going to come up later in one of the prompts, but how can feel, felt, found be applied to modern sales techniques? That's an old school sales technique that I still lean on. And then you get your sources at the top, you get your answers, so on and so forth. And then you have follow-up questions on here. So if I wanted to say, like, how can I make it feel more genuine and empathetic? And I just hit that button, it now adds this to the resource document. And again, because you can share this as an actual link, this is a great way to share content back and forth with your team, or just to get spun up on anything. Maybe you're trying to get spun up on how you would use Medic in a particular sales use case. Perplexity can be a really great place to do it. And I really love that it puts the sources up top, because anything with AI, about hallucinations, about how it can perhaps lie, everything with AI is really a trust but verify. And so I think this is a great way to trust but verify, and go look at those documents and just make sure that, if it's from this particular website, which is selling and persuasion techniques, that you go check it out and make sure that you feel like that's a valuable source. But anyway, perplexity.ai, not only just for this tool, but just a very good tool for doing research. I think if you're like me and a lot of my friends that are in AI, you may actually start using it more than you would use a typical Google search. Another hot tip on this one that you can use, that I use all the time, is if you are trying to train a custom GPT, like let's say you want a prompt, but you need some background information to it. Yeah, Chad's saying +1 for Perplexity. Awesome. I'm glad you're using it, Chad. But one thing I use it for, and I'll give you an example. I run a daily podcast called the Daily AI Show with a bunch of other co-hosts. And so we're always coming up with topics for shows, as you would imagine. And it runs the range of different AI topics. Oftentimes what I'm doing before I put the show description together is that I will go into Perplexity and I will do the research. Then I will copy just that link and put it into ChatGPT for the beginning of my prompt, saying, go look here for sort of the background information, then do this thing that I want you to do, or these 3 or 4 steps. So the reason I want to share is because it can be used in tandem. And like I said, it's a free tool. You can pay for it. And there's some other features that go along with it, saving your results and things like that. But it's a great tool to use. Okay, so that kind of wraps it up for what I wanted to share as far as news, both OpenAI giving us some help on how to write better prompts, better custom GPTs, and then a tool like Perplexity. So the next thing I want to dive into, kind of just move right along, I have tons to share with you today, is sort of the main topic of what we were going to do on this AI Unleashed. And that is to just kind of give you some ideas of some of the, I don't know, it's the some of the like 8 different prompts that I think are unique or inventive in a way. So what I want to do is show you a couple different examples from our prompt library that I built over the months. And it just kind of maybe expands your thinking about what you can actually do with a sales prompt. It's very common to say, help me research this company, and then it's like a one-off type thing. But what I want you guys to start thinking about is when you're using ChatGPT, don't just think about it as like, oh, give me this one answer, but maybe start to expand a little bit and go like, well, how can I use it to get better at a skill per se? Or how can I use it in a different angle that still allows me to get a lot of value of the AI, but does it in a way that's just unique or different? So I have 8 different examples. I have them up here on the top of my page. And what I was hoping to do is just kind of run through these. Please throw comments in if you have more questions about, what I'm showing you or anything like that. By the way, these all come straight out of our prompt library. So a lot of you probably watch this, probably already have access to our prompt library. If you don't, one of the ways or the way you can get access to it now is by signing up for our workshops. And so what the workshops are on-demand courses. There's 3 on-demand courses, 101, 201, and 301. And I put that whole course together. That course will take you from, if you knew nothing about ChatGPT and sales, all the way through creating complex custom GPTs on your own for whatever purpose you want to do. That on-demand course, that 3-part on-demand course will take you through it. What you get on top of that is the prompt library as well. So we can share some more information about that. There you go. Becca just threw it in the comments. So if you want to learn more about that workshop, it's relevant because, like I said, that's how you would get access now to the prompt library. So it's great. You get everything you would ever need to know about how to use ChatGPT for sales. And I'm updating it all the time. So if new stuff comes out, I put it into the course. So it's always getting better. And then you also get well over 150 prompts that you can now use in sales. So let's go ahead and look at some of them. The first one I wanted to bring up is enriching sales navigator data for personalized outreach. So before I was really doing AI at Scaled, I was doing all of our LinkedIn strategy. In fact, I still run our LinkedIn strategy for quite a few clients. And there's a lot of overlap there with AI as well. So I spent many years just focusing on AI strategy. And look, Sales Navigator, if you have it, is fantastic. By the way, it's okay if you don't, because you can do this with Boolean searches on the free side of LinkedIn as well. But there's a lot of times where we would maybe want to enrich the data coming out of Sales Navigator to make it even better. So in this particular prompt, what we're doing is we're saying, here's some information. In other words, I just went into a leads list, anything that you would have created in Sales Navigator. Here's a bunch of companies that I narrowed down using certain parameters, and here's a lead list. And now I want to know something more. You can see it here. What does the company sell? What's their sub-industry? Sub-industry is something that Jake has been pushing on. I know Katie as well. Cannot emphasize the power of going one level deeper to a sub-industry when you're doing research. It makes a huge difference. So just kind of keep that in mind. Trends that are going on in that sub-industry. And then we want to pull the company website link. And so I actually have an example here of what that looks like. I just took a whole bunch of companies that I did on a quick sample lead list in Sales Navigator. And then I had custom or ChatGPT in this prompt run through this list and make it better. In fact, enrich it. And then it puts it in a table format, which allows me to now just copy and paste that directly into here. Now, it's also probably another quick step process if you wanted to put that information into, let's say, Salesforce or HubSpot or something like that. You can enrich these accounts as well doing that. So you can see that where the pain points come out, it's pulling the sub-industry, what they sell, the industry trends, and it keeps going here to the website. So very easy to do. You literally just need, a list of accounts, and it's going to make the information better than what you got out of Sales Nav. And again, if you don't have access to Sales Navigator, that's perfectly fine. You could actually just do this using the basic search on LinkedIn. We won't get into it now, but if you have any questions about that, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. But they have some Boolean search functions, which would allow you to basically get the same account list. You also could use an account list from anywhere that your company is using them as well. Looks like we have a quick question here. Let me see if we get it. Is it something you could use in conjunction with a tool like Clay or instead of? Yeah, I mean, Clay is a great tool. There's several AI tools out there where you could do this. Basically, what I want to show you is that you can definitely use ChatGPT to enrich data coming out of it. And, in my particular case, I was asking it for these things. But let's say you had two more parameters that you wanted ChatGPT to do. You could literally add that right to this prompt. If you're like, well, Brian, I care about the sub industry and the trends, but I also want to know this other thing. Great. Go ahead and put it. You can literally add it to this prompt on there as well. Rhonda's asking, do you recommend Sales Navigator? Look, Sales Navigator is a great tool. It's not cheap. It's like, I think back when I looked at it, it was like maybe $100 per user or whatever. There's a lot of value to be gained out of it. So it really just depends on how much, sales you're doing. But Sales Navigator is a great tool. Clay is good for enrichment, Chad says, but it was blocked by LinkedIn. Funny enough, OpenAI is blocked by LinkedIn, which you would think because Microsoft owns LinkedIn, you wouldn't think that'd be the case. But if you just try to put in a URL of like a profile, we have to do a workaround to work around. That's kind of annoying, but yeah. So LinkedIn is always going to want you to use their tools, whether it be their recruiter, the sales navigator. This is a way that you're never going to get blocked because you're literally copying and pasting a group of accounts and you're putting it into custom or ChatGPT. So you'll never get blocked with this because we're never asking it to call or do an API call or anything like this. This is like low level basic stuff, but as you saw, it's this process to get this spreadsheet is probably 3 minutes worth of your time. Seriously, if you throw it in that prompt, this is about 3 minutes worth of your time, so you can see how quickly it'll work. Derek's asking, how can you create a prompt where ChatGPT has an in-depth knowledge of your products and services and then references how it can help with those industries? That's a great question, Derek. You could do that with a prompt by uploading what we would call a knowledge document, but that's really where getting into custom GPTs is going to be a better solution. You cannot build a custom GPT on the free side of ChatGPT right now, but you can build one on the paid. And just to be clear, because this just changed, I know Jake covered it last time or one of his last videos. Right now with the free side of ChatGPT, you actually have more than you ever had before. You have the more advanced model, but you have limits on how much you can use it. And you can access custom GPTs built by, let's say, me or Scaled, but you can't build them. Okay. So in this case, Derek, what I would say is if you have the paid side, yeah, and I use the paid side, happy to build those case studies. Yeah, perfect. So Derek's saying he has the paid side of it. That's a great way where you can create what we would call a knowledge document. It could be a set of links. It can be much more detailed. It can be much more detailed. Think 20, 30-page document of everything about your company. It can be that detailed. All I'll say on that before we move on here is make sure you're being clear about your H1 headers and really take the time to organize it because ChatGPT can read that on the back side. It understands H1 headers. It understands bullet points. And so the more clear you can be about what goes in what section on that document, the better off you're going to be for ChatGPT pulling that information into as a resource document. So great question on there. Okay, I know we're so much time here, but let me jump into a couple more use cases. And I have a few other cool things to show you before we wrap up today that weren't necessarily on the agenda, but I don't know, I've been working on this week and they're custom GPTs and I kind of want to share them with you guys. So we'll do that as well. Here's another one that, this was, I think, Jake's one of his ideas about creating a quiz. And I've always loved it. It doesn't have to be, look at this prompt. It doesn't have to be complex. You can basically actually, you could take a knowledge document like Derek was talking about if you wanted to, but you could do something easier too. Here's the subject, here's some product updates, here's some sales techniques, and I just want to create a quiz. It could be for you, it could be for your team if you're a sales leader. It just could help you refresh on what's going on a particular product or service that you offer. Just something simple. This and cold calling, or I'm sorry, the role playing that we have is one of our custom GPTs. I'll show you that in a minute. To me, are like one of the best ways to prime your brain for sales. So you may not be making outbound calls or cold calls or whatever, but just think about this. Back when everybody was going to an office, and maybe you still do drive to an office. I don't. I work from home. So my transition period from home life to work can often be 30 seconds. And that doesn't always give you enough time. You used to have that car ride or that train ride or whatever to sort of move your brain into work. And I find that doing a quiz like this or doing like a role playing is a great way to switch your brain into work mode. And it kind of gets that brain primed a little bit. And then you're off and running and doing what you're doing. So use it if you like. That's one of my little tips or tricks. I use it all the time. And so I'll often create little quizzes for myself. Like, hey, I need to brush up on what we're doing with RevOps because it's not necessarily a service I personally work on at Scaled. I focus on the AI side, but I want to know about it, right? Because it comes up in conversations with clients. So easy way to do that. Another kind of cool example here is for generating conversation starters. So let's look at this prompt. We're basically generating personalized conversation starters for a title in an industry and a company and whatever the solution is. So here's the example prompt here. So 3 personalized conversation starters for our finance executives in mid to large financial institutions, focused on how software can reduce operational costs. For each of these, provide one reason why finance executives might be hesitant or skeptical, so on and so forth. Okay, I won't read the whole thing to you. And then you're getting conversation starters, and then you're getting potential hesitations to you maybe talking about that. So just think about all the times that you may go out or be at a conference, or you might be at a social event or something like that, an after hours event, where you want to be a little bit more prime when you go there. It's not necessarily about doing hard sales, but if you're running into people, you'd like to know, hey, how could I, get this conversation started if I'm specifically going to be around this industry, again, sub-industry. This is a really easy one to do. Again, it's just about kind of helping you out, right? It's that little voice in your ear saying, hey, I've got you. I'm your assistant. I'm your backup. I'm going to help you out. If you remember the show Veep, the guy, I can't think of his character's name, but he was always whispering into Julie Louis-Dreyfus's ear, and this is such and such senator, and he's from whatever. You can basically do that. Heck, we probably in the future, we could put it in an AirPod and you'd have it in your ear like a Secret Service. But for now, this is a very, very easy way to use ChatGPT to do that. Let me look at some questions here. Is it possible to get a link to that spreadsheet, or can you pull it back on the screen before you wrap up? Yeah, sure. I can. This is just dummy data, so you're more than welcome to look at it. I share it in the prompt library. This spreadsheet is shared with that prompt. So if you have the prompt library, you would have access to it as well. But sure, if you want to look at it, go ahead. It's not anything that we're currently using. It's not our current clients at Scaled or anything proprietary on it. Conversation starters is one of them. YouTube. Guys, YouTube is a treasure trove of information. You probably already know that at this point, but did you know that you can pull off of the transcripts? I use a company called, or a Chrome extension called Glasp, Glasp. I'll put that in the things here. It's called Glasp. Doesn't have to be capitalized, but that's what it's called. You can use a Chrome extension, and essentially allows you to grab a transcript from any YouTube video. So just think about how many cool different YouTube videos you've seen about sales training that you really like. Maybe it was a Sandler video. Maybe it was some other video out there. And you're like, well, there's a lot of great information about it, and I'd like to do something with it. Well, here's a great one for creating a learning plan directly off a YouTube video. So listen, that might be a highly curated one that's all produced and stuff. It could have just been 5 people doing a roundtable on a topic at some conference, and they put it up on YouTube for everybody else to see. And you're like, that's a really insightful conversation. I'd like to turn that into something, not just listen to it, but actually turn it into actionable insights. Grab the transcript, easy thing to do. Like you can see, not a complex prompt to do this. Copy and paste it into ChatGPT, and then you can do anything you want with it. In this case, we turned it into a great, what was it, 8-week training program. So just that easy, right? To do that. Let's look at a few more. Creating content calendars for LinkedIn. Like I said, I used to run LinkedIn strategy. I still do for some clients. So basically we can talk about pillars, and we can talk about, hey, these are sort of the 3 things. I want to talk a little bit of leadership, but I always tell people, if you're trying to get going on LinkedIn, talk about whatever you talked about with your clients or prospects or leads. They're the ones actually giving you the information you should be using for your LinkedIn outreach, because ultimately we want to put posts out that are educational, entertaining, informational, inspiring, right? These are the kind of the things we want to be doing, but also we want to be answering questions that are helpful to our audience. Well, what kind of questions? Well, a lot of times those pain points and those questions come up on the calls you're having at your company. So listen to those and reuse those as something you can put out on LinkedIn. So when you're thinking about putting a content calendar together, you might say, well, look, there's like three main things that we answer a lot at our company because whatever, because we have to explain them for what we're doing. You could make those your pillar content and then create a whole customized plan that tells you, hey, you want to do this 3 days a week? Great. Talk about this on this day, talk about this on this day, talk about this on this day. And actually, I'm going to show you a custom GPT that anybody who has signed up for our custom GPTs gets access to. So I'll show you that in just a second on how you could do a 1-2 punch. One, to create the content calendar. Two, to turn around and actually create really, really good prompts from it. I think there was an email that was sent not too long ago. Sorry, just checking. I'm keeping up with the comments. I love the comments, by the way, guys. Thank you for all the chats. Brian, I have the custom GPTs. Is there a direct link I can favorite to the GPTs? Yeah, Leo, reach out to me at ai@scale.com just to make it easy. I'll put it in the thing here. That'll come to me. If you need direct links, and then I'll make sure you have them. So one of the things we're definitely correcting with that, so Leo, you kind of called it out here, is that you get those links as soon as you sign up. But honestly, if that page goes away, the thank you page goes away, it's gotten a little hard to reach them. We've fixed that with this new version 2 coming out. And so Leo, you and everybody else, thank you, by the way, for supporting us with these custom GPTs. You will get all the brand new custom GPTs and a much better on sort of process along with emails that are going to help you along the way. So really trying to make sure we're listening to what we're hearing from you guys. And one of the things we're hearing is like, I love these custom GPTs, but I could use a little help with them. We got you. I'm doing training videos for every single one of them. You're going to get automated emails that come to you that say, this is how you use it. This is best practices for using this. I'm going to teach you how to create knowledge documents in there. All of that's coming to you, whether you have already signed up for the custom GPTs and you pay monthly for them, or if you signed up for them today and you get the new version that's going to come out within the next week or two, you're going to get all of that. So thanks for bringing it up, Leo, because I'll raise my hand and say that's on me. You get so busy trying to create new things that you forget that you got to do the follow-up. So if you've been feeling that or you feel that strain, I got you. We've listened, and it's so much better now. So reach out to me if you need any help with that. I'll be happy to do that. And I see some awesomes and woohoos in there from Lydia and stuff. All right, let's hit one or two more, and then we're going to sort of wrap this up a little bit. Creating charts from blogs or articles, same kind of idea as doing it from a YouTube, but you can use any link. You guys probably know this, but a lot of people don't realize they can pull charts. So here's an example of where we were able to create net new charts out of an article. So the article had data in it. And think about that. You might be talking in the EV world like I am here. And you're like, wow, if I had a visual to share with this potential lead where I just had this conversation or a current client or something like that, that would be great. Well, you probably didn't realize ChatGPT can create charts for you. I can do it. It can read charts, but it also can create charts. So kind of a cool feature. A lot of people don't realize it can do, but really easy way to really spruce up an email that you might be sending out, because you might be like, this is what I want to focus on. Here's the chart showing why this is a pain point in our value prop and how we're able to solve it for you. So super, super easy one. Derek says, do you need to use extensions like Ask Your PD? Because I know ChatGPT now has the ability where you can upload documents and have it analyzed. Great question. So you're asking like, they used to have plugins. They've gotten rid of the plugins. But you can now Ask Your PDF is probably a custom GPT. So I'm going to show you one where we've built one, and I'll show you the difference. So hold that question for just a second, Derek. It's a great one. And Derek's basically saying, hey, if ChatGPT can just do this anyway, do we really need to have a specialized like custom plugin, or nowadays are custom GPTs to do it? Let me show you where you would and where you probably don't, where ChatGPT basic is probably fine. I'll show you an example of that. What are my last two here? Video script writer. Look, I'm big and bullish on videos. I have been for years. You want to make a difference, you want to stand out on LinkedIn even more, make videos. But also sending out videos to your clients, huge. Now, look, guys, there's going to be a ton of AI tools in the very, very near future. In fact, they exist now, where you can mass produce videos that are me looking directly at you in the camera with my mouth and my voice. And I was never on camera, and all I did was type it in. They're avatars, essentially. And I'm not knocking them. There's some amazing technology coming out, but you're still probably going to want to be able to stand out from even the avatars, because people are going to be expecting this in the very near future. They will just assume you did not actually get on camera and make a video for them. So that's a great opportunity to get on camera and make a video for them and stand out, because everybody else is going to be trying to do the really fast, cheap, low-hanging fruit AI solution. And what I want to say is, hey, use AI, but use it for better personalization and sales. That's modern sales. Let's not worry about, can I send 1,000 of these out? Let's worry about, can I send out 10 really good ones and have it take me 10x less time than it used to do it at that level? That's where I get excited for it. And then last one on here, this is what I was talking about earlier. It's fine. I told you we were going to have a callback on this one. We were talking about on feel, felt, found. Now, I love feel, felt, found. If you never learned that sales technique, you could certainly go look it up. I still use it all the time. And what this prompt is doing, and this is a prompt chain where basically we have one prompt, and the results of that one prompt are helping us run the second prompt, and so on and so forth. It's called a prompt chain. And this is a great way to break a big task down into those individual pieces, like we learned earlier. So I could try to write one mega prompt for this, but it would not do well. So instead, I say, ChatGPT, go do this for me, give me the answer. Based on that answer, go do this thing for me, give me the answer, right? That's the prompt chain part of it. So in this case, what we're doing is we're going to create a very natural using feel, felt, found structure, which has been around for decades. I think it was the first thing I learned out of college in like 2000, right? It's been around forever, way before that probably. But it's still very relevant. So how do you do it in a way with a particular client using the idea of feel, felt, found, but doing it once we get all the way down here to probably at the bottom here, creating a one pager using those ideas that you could send out to a prospect or a client that's using the concept of feel, felt, found without saying, I understand how you feel. Others have felt the same way. This is what we found, because it's a dead giveaway, right? But we can use the concepts to it. ChatGPT is fantastic at that, at just taking concepts and taking messy data and turning it into, molding it into something else. So those are 8 different ways that you can that are just different. They're outside the box. They're different ways of using ChatGPT. And honestly, guys, there's probably 30 more that I could rattle off to you, but we would be here for the next couple of days. And I don't want to overstay my welcome when Jake and Katie had me filling in. But before we do go, and let's see, tell me why they don't have the same voice inflections and such. Tell me they don't have the same voice inflections and such and don't sound human these days. Well, Derek, I agree that they're not there yet, but here's the thing we do know about AI. Yes, I agree with you. I'm not an avatar right now, and you guys can kind of tell. If I was an avatar, it would probably be slight head movements like this, which I've gotten better at. And I'd be a little bit more monotone, and I would just be talking to the camera and whatever, right? That's kind of what an avatar is looking at right now. That's temporary. It's 6 months, a year. You will not be able to tell the difference between an AI avatar and probably something that was created by a human. So we have to figure out how to get around that, how to say more personalized things in the email and the video. And ChatGPT can help you with some of those points to do that, get over the scariness of being on video and just do something different. So that's how we're going to stand out, because AI is going to be able to do all of this. So how do we put the human back into sales is really going to be a differentiator. Okay, let me stop sharing this screen because I want to share one more here. Let me see if I'm missing any other comments. Missed the email and the chat has the ability where you can upload documents. Okay, so it looks like Becky's helping you out there. Yeah, guys, if you have the custom GPTs, if you have our prompt library, if you have signed up for the workshops, the on-demand courses, any of that, and you have questions or you're not able to access something, just email me at ai@scale.com. That will come to me, and I will ensure that you get access to everything. Thank you, Becca. But Becca just put it in the comments. If you have any questions, I will make sure that it gets handled. And again, if I've dropped the ball on you, I apologize for that. But I'm telling you, we've got it worked out, and it's really, really good going forward. Okay, last thing I want to share with you guys. Now, you guys have stuck with me this long. This is future stuff. So I'm going to share with you what we're kind of looking at as our future of custom GPTs. Now, I showed you what the OpenAI has come out with prompting, but also with recent advancements with 4 Omni, that's the latest model that ChatGPT has out. We're able to do some things we weren't able to do with custom GPTs before. And we're able to make some of our previous custom GPTs even more powerful. So I'm super excited about this. These are not live yet. I promise you they're coming. We're just putting our final touches on it. But let me just share a quick screen on some of these custom GPTs, just because I'm excited about it, frankly, and I want to share it with y'all. So A couple that we have. Now, this is one that we already had out. A few of these we've already had, but they've gotten better. But this one is a cold call role playing. You can even see up there, it says V2 on there because that's letting me know, hey, this isn't the live one right now. But just the idea of being able to put in a profile, like this is a PDF that comes from the LinkedIn profile. You can download a PDF. And so we upload that. And like, let's say I wanted to reach out and this, I'm going to role play with this VP of sales at Mountain. They do advertising, and then very quickly running through and getting into this role play. And what's really cool here and what's gotten even better is its ability for Van, which is like that's the GPT playing the other role, to really look at what I'm saying. And if I'm asking questions like, are you currently using ChatGPT to help your sales process? Hey, Brian, we're looking into ChatGPT. We're not currently using it. Now the chatbot is doing an even better job of directly responding. Instead of it being a little more formulaic, it's actually having a conversation back and forth. And I heard KD talk about this, and I highly agree that he actually loves that these role-playing custom GPTs are written. So there's a lot of ways we can do voice, but this one is written, but it does make you think a little bit more about what you're going to say. And so this is just an example. And then at the end of it, depending on how you did, you get feedback. So it gave me a couple of points of feedback that I thought I did well. And it also thought that I could have asked a few more questions about the current challenges and processes that uncover more opportunities where our solution could add value. And hey, I'd be the first to admit that. I'm not a sales person like all you guys. Like you guys are amazing to me. But yeah, I'm sure I could have done a better job with that. So it's a little bit of that feedback. So that one's really, really cool. The social media post generator has gotten so much better. That's the one I was talking about earlier, where it won't let me say LinkedIn. It stops me from calling that, but that's what it is. It's the LinkedIn post generator where you just give it like 2 minutes of you talking openly about a topic. So let's say a customer told you something, you're like, oh, that's a good pain point. I want to talk about that. And it converts it directly into a really good, like I'm going to say 80% of the way there. Um, uh, Post. So you can actually see it here. Here's the transcript from me. And here's that 80% of the way there. I'm going to make some edits to this. I wouldn't put this out exactly like this, but boy, I'd much rather start right here from a post than something that wasn't. And what's different about all these other AI ones out there, this is directly built off of your tone, your style, the way you talk. And that is so, so important on LinkedIn. Other ones that we have is we've updated our meeting summarizer. Gong and other ones have some meeting summarizers. I frankly think ours is better. We get a lot of good feedback on it because we start the way it should be with an outline and then build it into the consolidated notes with action items and everything else. So just such an easy way to throw in a transcript from a meeting and get super action items calling back about it. Our discovery call follow-up, well, actually we have discovery call prep and follow-up. But another great way to take a discovery call transcript and immediately turn it into follow-up messages that specifically talk about what was talked about in the call with next steps and action items. And it even gives you a video script that could complement an email. So you want to send back an email saying, hey, thanks, Van, for we talked about this, this, and this. This is our action items, this is what we're doing next. Here's a video. And then you could create a video and maybe send that through a LinkedIn DM just to sort of make the whole process a little bit nicer and a little bit more customer service. Here's one I love. People told me all the time they love digging into annual reports, but it's time consuming. This one looks at this annual report and does all the hard work for you. So this is an Adidas annual report from last year, and it's diving deep into it, pulling out all the important information that I might want to know about for a sales process. Now, look at this. I'm going to show you, this is the last thing I'll show you because we're kind of out of time here, but here's where this gets really cool. Now, if you have access to our custom GPTs, you're going to get access most likely to 10 plus of these. What people don't realize is that you can link custom GPTs together. So what does that mean? Well, that means I can finish using one custom GPT that we built for you, such as the annual report summarizer, and I can immediately go in to a different custom GPT, even if I started in a thread of a different one. So that's what I did here. And you can see the power here. I did the whole annual report, but then what I did, you can't see it, it doesn't show up here. I called our other custom GPT called Help Me Book a Meeting With. And you can see here, I'd like to use the information gathered from Adidas annual report to book a meeting with this person. This is the profile that came from LinkedIn. Here's the background information. This is the knowledge document that knows about what we do at Scaled. Okay, so that's what all that is. Then it immediately moves into our help me book a meeting with custom GPT, and it creates immediate snippets. And guys, the pain points, the value props, the jargon that they're going to use, the deeper connection and example talking points. And it does that several over. And then I asked it just for fun for 2 more. And it dove into even other topics and other services that we have at scale that could potentially help. Super powerful. I mean, custom GPTs are powerful. They've gotten even more powerful from where they were, but you can also link them together very, very easily to get 1-2 shots. And now you're going from some 50-page, investment report or annual report of Q4 or something like that from Adidas, right down to reaching out to whoever the person we're reaching out to here. I don't know what the title was. I'd have to look for the particular person. So super, super easy to do. Okay, I could keep going on and on. There's a couple more here. Help me find a meeting. Oh, here's one you guys haven't seen before. Help me find lookalike leads. Number one thing I've been asked for is, can you help us generate more leads? Go search for more leads. I found a way to do it. And I think this is super cool, where it doesn't just repeat what like a Salesforce could do. You give it any company that you're working with, and it will generate more companies that are similar to it and give it a ranking based on, so if we go down here, ranking 3, 1 through 5, 5 being the best, along with the links, what they do, how they're similar to your current client. So you can go out and reach to them and try to sell to lookalike clients and get more business. This one's not even live yet. This one you can't get yet, but it's coming. This is where the power in the future is of custom GPTs and what I'm really excited to get out to you guys. So let me look in the comments really quick before we wrap things up. Wow, we got a lot in here. Thank you guys so much. This has been really fun. Have you tried voice with 4.0 yet? Yeah, for sure. Now that's great. You can use the role play on voice. He's saying like you can do it on your phone. And yes, there is the newer version of 4.0 where it has lower latency, meaning it's almost immediate back and forth. Fantastic using for that. There's something to be said, like KD says, about typing it out, but absolutely you could use that same custom GPT and do voice. It would work exactly the same if you pulled it up on your phone. What are some of the use cases turning on the memory option in ChatGPT? Yeah, the memory is okay inside. That's a feature now in ChatGPT. It's okay. I find that it also adds things into my memory that I don't want there, and then I got to go clean them out. But it works. It's not like it's not an omnipresent, all-knowing memory, but it's better than custom instructions is what we had. We still have, but that was the first sort of memory. Then they released memory about a month ago. It's better. And I think, in the next several months, we're going to see the next iteration of that, where it's like a true memory, where we're able to load even bigger knowledge documents about us, our companies, whatever it might be. And it holds that through all conversations. But more importantly, it does a better job of pulling it in. I'll give you a perfect example. Every memory that I've ever written in the ChatGPT says, please, for the love of God, don't use the word delve. And it still does sometimes. So it's clearly not perfect, but it's one way to do it. Takeaways from meeting. Leo to reach out to Brian for direct links to Scrum, Brian to provide training knowledge, Brian to follow up and improve access to onboarding, see full summary. I love it. Okay. How'd you do that? The linking, refusing to remember the name. Okay. All right. So you guys are good. I'm going to stop it there because we've gone about 45 minutes. It has been nonstop. I knew I had a ton to share with you guys. If you have any questions about what we're doing with custom GPTs, I can share that with you. Becca's put all this in the comments, but here you go. There's the direct link if you want to learn more or sign up for these custom GPTs. Like I said, we have 10 of them out there that are awesome right now. And I just showed you the back end of what's coming. And so if you sign up today or you sign up next week, you're going to get all of it. You're going to get all of it. So hope that was helpful, guys. This has been a lot of fun. I always like jumping in. Jake and KD or one of the both of them will be back in 2 weeks for the next AI Unleashed. If you have questions, reach out to us. Like I said, you can reach me at ai@scale.com. I'll be happy to answer any questions, or if there's anything where you're like, Brian, you went too fast, I need you to explain this to me again, I'll be happy to do that. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Leo, Andrew, Rhonda, Lori. Thank you, guys. You guys are the best. This has been fun. I will see you next time.